2 of my Wrath of the Lich King Death Knight preview. Now in the last edition I covered the Death Knight abilities and the specs, the differences between the different specs that you're going to be running into, and strategies for playing a Death Knight, as well as going up against one. Now in the last edition I mostly covered the Death Knights, mainly because I wanted to give you guys kind of an idea what to look forward to with that class. But not everybody's going to be rolling a Death Knight. Some people already have 70s and they're looking forward to leveling to 80s. Now whenever I went and showed the last video to my guildies and Kentucky rookies, who the video was actually made for, some of them asked me to find out anything I could concerning the other classes in the World of Warcraft expansion. Now I try to be a man of my word when I can, so I uncovered a few tasty little tidbits for you guys to sink your teeth into. For those of you wondering what the expansion's gonna offer for the tunes they already have, and they're looking forward to leveling to 80. Now one of the biggest changes that you're going to notice in the expansion is how the mounts and the vanity pets are handled now. Once you use a mount or a vanity pet, it'll be saved to a special tab under your character pane, as you can see here. Once this is done, it no longer requires backspace to carry these mounts with you. They're simply summoned, much like a Warlock, Pally, or even a Death Knight's mounts are. Simply summon it anytime you want to use it. Now Blizzard has also implemented an achievement system into this expansion. Now I don't fully understand the significance of this system, but basically you receive points for reaching certain preset goals. Now some are simple, like simply buying a tabard or completing 100 quests. Now others are going to require a lot more time and patience. Now of course I'm going to start off with rogues. I'm a rogue at heart, I love the class, and my main is a rogue, so it stands to figure. Anyway, the biggest change you're going to notice with the rogue class is how the energy bar operates now. As you can see here, it scrolls smoothly as it fills up instead of the familiar short bursts or spurts that we're used to. Also, we no longer need to carry thieves' tools to pick locks and doors, and the poison skill has been completely removed. Poisons are now bought from vendors, pre-made instead of being made by the rogue from raw materials. The Vanish ability no longer requires the Vanishing Powder reagent. Now, I regret to inform all my friends who roll Warlocks that their beloved Affliction tree has taken some huge hits in the nerf department. And because of that, you're going to see a lot more locks roll in the demo spec, mainly because of the ability you see here. That's called Metamorphosis. Basically, the lock transforms himself into a giant demon for about 15 seconds. It has 450% the armor that the notoriously squishy class has always had going against it. Now, I can't really offer much more of the other classes, except for little teasers that I've seen on the expansion that I was lucky enough to score some decent footage of. Now here you see one of the new pets that's available to the Hunter class in the expansion. This one I saw with a level 62 Hunter in Shattrath. And here you see a new Druid form. Now as I'm sure you know, with the expansion there is now an entirely new area to explore and quest in called Northrend. Now there are two ways to get to Northrend for the Horde faction. This is by two new Zeppelin towers outside of Undercity and Orgrimmar. The new Zeppelin tower outside of Undercity that you see here leads to a place in Northrend called Howling Fjord. God, I hope I said that right. Now, as you would expect, all the professions have new trainers that allow you to raise your chosen professions to a skill level of 400 now. But I recommend you do some dailies early on, because this shit ain't cheap. And as I said, there's a new Zeppelin tower outside of Orgrimmar as well that leads to a place in Northrend called Warsong Hold. That's right, you can enter Northrend in two completely different points instead of the only one entry point like we had for Outlands. Well, unless you count bugging a mage to port you to Shat, that is. Now, unlike Undercity, this tower is off to the side a bit from the other tower that leads to Undercity and STV, but you will still find the new profession trainers in Warsong Hold as well as that hard-to-pronounce place I said earlier. And when you look at that fucking rogue, goddamn show off.